All right, it says I'm live on YouTube. I'm going to give a few minutes just to make sure that I actually am live and see if anybody's going to join us. So typically I do these trainings on Wednesday evenings, but that might have to change because my son is now in soccer until mid-February and his soccer games are every Wednesday night. So I will not be in time for my usual team call times for the team. So today I'm doing a lunchtime team call. This might be a new thing for a while, and whoever can join me during lunchtime, great. And if not, it's going to be on the YouTube channel, the Team Meta Movement YouTube channel. You can always watch the replay there. And you can always watch the replay on our team page as well, because I will share it from YouTube onto our team page. Okay, so I shared a video by a young man called Quasi Johir into our team page. And he is a coach and he is a metaphysical coach. So he, law of attraction, manifestation, reality creation, that's his niche. And he made this video about the 3 most common plateaus of business owners. And when I watched it, I was like, gosh, that's so applicable to our particular business. So what I wanted to do is I wanted to take the plateaus that he talked about and I wanted to address it in our specific business, in our Beachbody business, and how it affects us. Because I have definitely traveled all 3 of these. And they all have such significant lessons. And I think just being aware of the fact that you are where you are can make such a huge impact in your performance and how you show up. So I'm going to use my pen as a pointer. The first plateau he talked about was procrastination. And I feel like most new coaches end up like right here. And he said there's actually 2 forms of procrastination. There's actually underworking. Santiago, stop. There's underworking or overworking. Sorry, my son's being insane. This is why I do things when he's asleep, by the way. Underworking or overworking. Underworking is probably the one I see the most in coaches on this team, but in general. Not like knowing what you have to do, but feeling undercommitted to your business. Like you can't make the emotional commitment to do the work that you need to do to have the business that you want. So like mentally you understand what you want, but you can't emotionally bring yourself to the place to do the things that will get you what you want. Overworking tends to happen once you're a more established coach and you have an actual business that's generating revenue. And what happens here is when you're working in your business instead of on your business. So you begin managing your business, managing your team, managing your clients instead of growing your business and looking for ways to expand it. The number one solution he offered was awareness. He talked about awareness of what you were doing being 80% of the work. Because if you know which one of these you were doing, then you know where to go next. And then he talked about the pain and pleasure principle that like we all work either to avoid pain or to move towards pleasure. That's the reason we do anything. So understanding what your pain points are, like I tend to be someone who is more motivated by pain than pleasure, to be honest. I'm trying to change that. I'm trying to change it such that my pleasure, the things that I'm dreaming of, pull me into motion versus me being triggered by the fact that my reality sucks so much. My history is such that I tend to get into such a bad situation that then I'm motivated to change financially, physically, health-wise. Don't be that person. Really work on shifting. And the way you do that is through like the revision meditation that I talked about in this team page is a beautiful way to do that, to start envisioning your reality right now as if you already had the reality that you want in like a meditative state intentionally every single day. Not only does that change your frequency and change how you feel about yourself and your business, but it actually brings you tangible results. And in just the few weeks that I have been practicing that very deliberately, it's been a massive turnaround for me. So this is one of the earlier phases, I feel like, where you will find yourself in as a coach. And primarily you're going to find yourself in underworking. And the reason you're underworking is because you have not emotionally committed to your work. You mentally understand maybe what you need to do task-wise, but you haven't made the emotional commitment to get it done. The second phase, this one is also extremely common, whether you're a new coach, I think, or a veteran coach, is the doubt cycle. And there's 3 phases that he breaks down in that: self, product, and strategy. This is where it gets real serious. Self-doubt is a type of doubt where you're like, I can't do this. I suck. They can do this, but I can't do that. And that's what your rhetoric sounds like. Product doubt is where you're like, one day you're like, Shakeology is the best. I love Beachbody on Demand. I love being in this group. And then the next day someone complains, or you see someone selling something else and maybe doing better than you're doing financially. And you're like, see, my product sucks. My product doesn't sell. That product sells. And you start comparing yourself and start losing belief in the actual product that we have. And then the third one is strategy, where you decide to approach your business in one way. Let's say you've decided to have an X amount of conversations a day. Maybe you have a goal for how many prospect calls you want to schedule, or a goal for how many people you want to put on your 9-week control week launch pre-order list a week. And then you start doubting that strategy you put into place. Like, oh, what if that doesn't work? What if it's not sustainable? What if blah, 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 blah. And you go into all of that. And so he talked a lot about embracing and allowing these 3 levels of doubt. And I just want to say that even myself, having been a coach for almost 5 years, I go through all 3 of these all the time. I see other people talking about how much income they're generating and selling CBD or makeup or whatever online. And I'm like, how is that even possible? You know what I mean? And then I start to doubt our concept and what we do, because what we do is not easy. Our job is not easy. It's not as easy as selling a person a product. There's a service attached to it, and there's a journey that comes with that. And it's not for everyone, because not everyone is going to be committed to the process that is required to helping people get results. Right? So I go through these cycles, and I think his advice of allowing and embracing the feeling is super, super important. Not to act on the doubt, but to just be with it, to just let yourself become fully aware of the fact that you are questioning yourself. And the other thing that I do when I'm in that space is I reach out to my upline. I'll reach out to Lauren Ricks and I'll say, hey, this is what's going on. This is where I'm at. Like, help me reframe. And it's been so helpful to actually lean into her mentorship and allow her to serve me. And I feel like this is something that doesn't happen enough on this team. It's like, I know you guys are struggling and you're going through stuff, but you don't reach out and you don't look to your mentors for that support system. So I'm communicating right now. I used to be that way. I used to also not do that. And I used to let my doubts stew within me. And since I stopped doing that and I started reaching out and helping someone who's been in this longer than me help me anchor that energy, it's made a massive impact in how quickly I shift through stuff. So get my Voxer, send me a message, and talk to me. Let me know where you are and what you're needing so I can help you hold space for your process, because we all go through this, and it doesn't matter how long you've been doing this, it will happen to you too. Okay. And the third one he talked about was inconsistency, like the feast or famine, where you make a ton of money once and then your income will drop, or you make a little bit of money and then no money, and then maybe a lot of money and then a little bit of money and then no money, and where you're really inconsistent. And he talked a lot about tolerance here. What we tolerate, what we allow to tolerate in our lives is what we get. That is so true. Like, we don't get what we want, we get what we allow. We get what we tolerate. So our lowest lows is because we tolerate it being that low. And our highs, that's because that's how high we tolerate going. And any cap that we have is because that's what we've allowed ourselves to be capped at. And he also talked about really understanding your metrics, like really understanding how many phone calls, for example, it takes to enroll a coach, or how many messages back and forth it takes to get someone to put their names on a pre-order list for a launch group you're hosting. If you're not tracking your metrics and how many conversations it's actually taking you to build a business, then it becomes really hard, because month to month, you have no idea what you're tracking. So for example, this week I set a goal to schedule 3 coach prospect calls. It doesn't have to be scheduled this week, just schedule on my schedule sometime in December, 3 coach prospect calls. I already had one today. So I have 2 more that I need to schedule before this month is over. I also have to put 5 new names on my 9-week control week launch pre-order list. Okay. Doesn't mean that they ordered because they can't order, but that it's 5 new people who are saying, yes, I'm interested and I want to participate in this thing. Right. So those are my weekly metrics. And what I'm measuring is like my effort. Okay. So my effort to communicate. And I know in order for me to schedule 3 calls this week, I have to be talking about the business and how many spots I have open almost every single day. And I also have to be talking about 9-week control freak almost every single day to be able to fill those spots. If I'm not posting about it, if I'm not in my stories about it, if I'm not talking about it, those spots aren't going to get filled. Right. And then if I'm not like chatting people who are following those stories and those posts, those positions aren't going to get filled. So I already know how much I have to share and who I have to keep up with in order to hit that metric. So I'm not stressed about it because I know what I have to do. But if you don't know what you're doing and you're not measuring, it's going to become very stressful for you week to week to be able to keep up with your business because you don't know what you have to do to meet your goals. So those... And then with this feast and famine thing, like inconsistency happens. Like maybe you get into a space where you're like really working your business and then you're not. And you're really working your business, then you're not. This happens a lot. It's very easy to do in this business. I find that happens because you still have not become, your identity has not solidified around being a business owner and a coach. You're still playing at being a coach. You're still playing at being a business owner. It's like an intangible thing in your mind that you're like, yeah, I mean, I sort of do this. You're not fully, and it's the same reason you procrastinate because you're not emotionally committed to your business. And that emotional commitment is what gives you that identity as a coach, as a business owner. When you see yourself taking the steps, doing the work, talking to people, opening the groups, asking people to join you in the group, facilitating a group, posting stuff in your stories. When you see yourself taking action, you start to solidify your identity as a business owner, as a coach. When you see yourself not taking action, you solidify this idea that you're not good enough for this. You're not meant for this. This is not who you are, blah, 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 blah. So understand that there's no right or wrong. It's only what you are reinforcing and what you're not reinforcing. Are you reinforcing that this is your business and you're a coach, or are you reinforcing that you're a fraud and this isn't going to work for you? You are affecting that directly. This is not like a passive happenstance. It's something that you are actively contributing to. And that's going to be determined by where your focus is here. If you're focusing on all the things you're questioning and doubting, or if you're focusing on all the things that you love about your community, about your product, about the job, about yourself, about your journey, right? Your attention is the master here. It is the master. Where you place your attention is going to dictate the health of your business, just like where you place your attention is going to dictate the health of your body. Okay, it's the same principle, exactly the same. He also shared this quote, which is by Tony Robbins, which really stuck out to me. And it was that you don't have business problems, you have life problems that reflect in your business. And I want every single one of you to really hear that. If your business is not where you want it to be, it's not because something is wrong with your business. It's not because something is wrong with you. It's because something is happening in your personal life that has your attention jumbled. And you are struggling somewhere personally, and it is becoming reflected in your business. So when you're struggling with confidence, for example, in general, confidence in your body, confidence in your maybe you have a profession outside of this, confidence in that job, whatever that is, that's going to show up in your business. You are going to lack confidence in promoting yourself and promoting your business. I'll give you a very viable example of this. I, for a long time, had a very difficult time owning the fact that Beachbody is structured like a network marketing company. We call ourselves a network marketing company because we share so many similarities to what that structure looks like. It's really the closest thing we come to as far as like a marketing organization. But I really held a lot of resistance around that because I see all these people on my newsfeed talking trash about MLMs and how bad they are and how they're garbage. And you know, how they're not worth anything and they don't, you know, the products are terrible. And so I let their beliefs become my beliefs. I let their limiting beliefs and their biases become my own. But then what started happening is I started seeing friends, not in this business, not Beachbody related, but in other network marketing businesses who are crushing it in their business and who have so much belief in their products and just adore what they do, making a killing, having a blast, changing people's lives and building like all these friendships. And I was like, and then you have that reality. You have these people who are bitter and have nothing but negative things to say. And then you have these people who are just loving their life. And a philosophy I've had for a long time is if I wouldn't trade places with a person's life, then I'm not going to listen to their advice. If I wouldn't want to be in their position, I'm not going to listen to them. And then I had to ask myself, would I want to be any one of these people who are complaining about MLMs? Like I look at their lives individually, and to be very honest with you, they're each a mess. They're broke. They have no success to claim of their own. Their life looks like a literal disaster. They have one catastrophe happening after one catastrophe, okay? And then you look at the other people who are really successful and having a blast, not even in my industry, who are super supportive, super encouraging, like all my posts. They're not even my customers, you know. And I'm like, yeah, I would want to trade places with those happy people who are killing it. So guess who I'm going to pay attention to? Those happy people. Okay. So ask yourself if you're buying into the reality of people that you wouldn't want to even trade places with. Or are you buying into the reality of people that you would? That's very important. That's very important. If you don't want their life, don't listen to them at all. At all. Because they are going to lead you down that road. And that's not a road I want to be on. I'm not here for drama, negativity, for being broke, for having my health fall apart. I'm not here for that. I'm here for the opposite of that. Friendships, community, transformation, wealth, and health. I'm here for health in my mind, in my body, in my spirit, right? So please, please take this quote to heart and ask yourself, have a real reality check with yourself about number one, what life problems are you having right now that you're allowing to control your business and you're allowing to keep you from having the business that you want? And number two, what phase are you in right now? Most likely you're going to be in these two. This is usually more once you start making a really consistent income, have been at this for a few years, you're probably going to be here. Where are you and what's really going on? Like, what are you letting your attention sit on that's creating the result that you don't want? Right? Like really be forthcoming with yourself. And then leave it in the comments of this video and let me know, like, what did this bring to your awareness? And Voxer me. I can put my Voxer ID in here. Send me a Voxer and talk to me. Like, what do you need to reflect on? What are you realizing you have to change, right? Like, you have to understand that your business is one of the biggest personal development projects you're ever going to take on. Next to being a parent, I don't think there's actually a bigger personal development journey than having your own business. Because now everything that you do in your business is dependent on who you are becoming. Your success is solely dependent on who you are willing to become. It's not dependent on just showing up, clocking in an hour, and getting paid by someone who's controlling your salary. It's now 100% you. And if you don't grow to become the kind of person that can have the kind of life that you want, you won't have it, right? And so we are only limited in our capacity by how we limit ourselves in our growth. And unfortunately, we do that a lot because we get afraid of going the distance and really committing to what we want. So I'm here to encourage you, like, don't end this year in the same place you ended last year. And don't go into 2021 with the same habits and the same limiting beliefs. Don't do that. Decide right now that December of 2020, you're going to crush those limiting beliefs. You're going to put them in your place. And in 2021, you're starting from a cleaned mindset with your attention and your focus put on what you want and blinders on absolutely everything else. All right. I hope this was insightful and really powerful team call for you guys. Please let me know what you thought, and I will chat with you guys soon.